The Italian Grand Prix in this season brings yet another one-off livery in our season here with Aarava Porsche Racing. We've had the Golf livery at the Monaco Grand Prix. We did the Pink Pig at the Austrian Grand Prix, a very unique livery. We've got two left for the rest of the season, and very nice timing on purpose. I have got the Martini livery lined up for the Italian Grand Prix. And if the last one-off livery was the most unique and out there design, I think the Martini one is going to be the most tidy and slick one we've had, along with the unique overalls and the team cap as well. The gear itself is so on point, but the livery, I think we've got a very neat modern take of a Martini livery, because we could have gone with your bog standard, the Martini lines all over the back of the car, the engine cover, etc. But I've gone for a little bit of a different take on it, with a large Martini stripe cropped at the back of the side pod to the engine cover. The engine cover reserved for this kind of big, bold Martini Racing lettering, and you'll maybe spot a retro old school logo of the Martini International Club, and that actually featured on the OG Porsche Martini livery on the 917 in 1971 as they won Le Mans. But along with that, we've also got the more common, more recent kind of design motifs, you know, taking inspiration from the last time Martini was in Formula One with Williams, with the rear wing specifically being in all those striped colors, the front wing as well, just having the stripage on either side nearer towards the end plates, and then we've got a unique sort of triangle design on the top of the chassis with it bleeding over onto the halo. So yeah, a nice little white number, which I think's come out as a really clean design. And you'll see later when we come to choosing our driver going to this race weekend, a closer look at the matching overall set and cap as well, which is really nice, and probably the best of the three so far, even though I think the Pink Pig livery is probably still the most unique livery itself. But as a whole package, I think this Martini one is perhaps the most slick one of the three so far. And we come into this Italian Grand Prix with this unique livery in a very good vibe with the team, obviously a 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship, leading the constructors, and you know, still kind of wondering how we're here, to be honest, because you know, so many other teams and drivers have been looking strong. But you know, I think the end of Spa kind of showed it. We've just been making those key decisions to maximizing result, lucking in or finessing things sometimes as well, and picking up those points. And even though we've had such a roller coaster of a season, we're here in a very solid position as we now go towards the last third of the season. As we go through the activity timeline, we get a brand new secondary sponsor, which very fittingly is actually seems to be like an Italian-based fake secondary sponsor. So very nice actually to be able to put this on the car in time for the Italian Grand Prix. It almost feels like one of those, you know, local regional sponsors sometimes teams swap out. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the logo variant in the Italian colors, but it's going to have to still work anyway, knowing that brand is an Italian, secondary sponsor in-game with the decal editor. So it's time to press on into the race weekend, and we'll be taking this on as Tim Tramnett. So this is going to be his second outing in one of the one-off liveries. The last time we drove as him with the one-off livery, it was the Pink Pig, and we ended up with a double podium and winning that race, not as him, but as our teammate did. So let's hope that that's a good omen for stepping into Tim's shoes once again with a one-off livery.
For over a century, the Temple of Speed has all come down to moments like this. Driver versus the stopwatch to set the grid for the Grand Prix. It is qualifying at Monza.
We've had a very hit and miss time with the Italian Grand Prix on this game specifically, so I'm hoping that we can go well, as Tim admiring the brand new Martini rear wing. I mean, we've had our fair share of everything, really, here at Monza. We've had, an engine failure after getting into a really great position, you know, early in the career. We've had a puncher at that corner just gone. We've started from the back of the grids. We've ended up winning that same race. That was all in one race, actually, those last three things. So, yeah, it's all happened to us here. So here's hoping for a bit of a smoother time for this qualifying session, to just get through, go through the motions, basically wind up the speed in Q1 and be fine. I mean, saying that, I did have a worry of DRS being an issue in terms of if the rear wing failed whilst the DRS was closed, that would have been a problem. In a weird way, I actually wouldn't mind the DRS failing if it stayed open, because that would be an aid to us in this qualifying session, but also fairly illegal. But yeah, the worry was there that we would have a situation where the rear wing would actually fail whilst it was closed, because DRS is so powerful here. You know, obviously it's not, available every straight, but it's available enough where it's going to make a significant difference. But so far, so good. Q2, we're seeing a lap time still about half a second off Leclerc. Leclerc's been quicker than us in both sessions and has had us covered. Hopefully, we can find a little bit more in Q3 versus him. But Verstappen looking strong up there. The two Hondas, I must say, looking strong as well, as Lawson was pretty damn quick in Q1. Norris, though, in 4th place in Mercedes off the back of a race win. Although Carlos Sainz getting knocked out at P14. So even though we've said Mercedes clearly are the strongest team now, and maybe the biggest threat to us, Sainz there, not consistent. He won only 2 races ago, but, maybe it's a case of now Norris maybe being the single man, trying to make more of a disruption with the silver arrow. Let's see as we go into Q3. Slightly overcast, I would say. It's a little bit darker here. Maybe just the sun going down around Monza, peeking through the trees as we go through Parabolica. Liam Lawson at the moment setting the quickest time. Leclerc only P6 and we're only P8. 3/10 off Leclerc. Only 8th place. Not a very great first lap then for either of us in the top 10 shootout. We're only quicker than O'Sullivan and Piastri, for goodness sake, although that just shows how dismal of a time Piastri's been having lately since he lost the championship lead only 4 episodes ago. As we come through the final bend, purple first sector, promising. Green middle sector, nearly half a second gained. Cross the line. It's going to be enough to beat Leclerc, but it's only going to be P6. That seems a little bit crazy to say, having a purple in the first sector, but others just had way more time. I mean, it was pretty damn close. If we had just found one more 10th, we could have been as high as the second row. But, oh my days, hang on a minute. I've only just noticed Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, they have set identical times for the front row. I believe the way it works is Lando must have set his time before Max's, so that's why he is on pole position. Verstappen on in second place, but that's incredible. We've seen a few times the AI sometimes set identical lap times, but I have never seen 2 AI set the same time for the actual pole position and front row lockout then of this race. That's incredibly close then between those two. And of course, Verstappen has been trying his best to be up there in the McLaren, but the McLaren seems to be consistently letting him down in the race by falling away with tyre wear. So if I had to put my money on someone, it would be Lando there in the Mercedes. They've got the momentum, but of course, we're the ones also with a bit of good feel vibes of leading both championships. So from 6-7, what can we do? Let's go to the grid.
Monza, the oldest circuit on the calendar, which hosted its first race all the way back in 1922. Today we look forward to the Italian Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he will start from pole position. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Colapinto, Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, and Tramnitz, Leclerc, Albon, Piastri, and Pierre Gasly, Stroll, Doohan, Carlos Sainz, Aaron, Solov, Ocon, Isaac Hadjar, and Jack Crawford, O'Sullivan, Maloney, Pepe Marti, and Gabriel Bortoletto completes the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And so we welcome you to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me for this race, and it's going to be some race, is Anthony Davidson. Well, they say you're only as good as your last race. And on evidence there, that was very good indeed. How do they carry that form through to today?
You've done it once, can you do it again? But, if you start believing in yourself and the confidence starts to build, that inner confidence is what you need. And you can carry that through to future races, including this one, and you set that ball rolling. That's the critical thing that they're looking for here. And I believe if you've got that first race win or a win at any stage, it can start to roll with you in a good way.
I think the big question in this race is going to be the tyre wear. That will really affect the race pace here. Most of us are choosing the medium tyre. Albon, you know, with Ferrari maybe desperate to do well on home soil with the soft tyre. I don't think he's going to be going anywhere too quickly. That soft tyre is going to wear out so quickly. I imagine this is going to be a case of either a one-stop from medium to hards, but I think a two-stop will maybe be on the cards for a lot of us because the tyre wear has been so much higher this season. And around Monza on this game, the tyre wear has been very high, actually, on this year's game specifically. So that's going to make things interesting because there's going to be a lot of room for undercuts or overcuts, because if you can get into clean air doing either, that's a massive positive, because you're always losing time when you're fighting and swapping left and right positions in this race. Even if you're keeping it pretty clean with just DRS passes, you're going to lose some time. So getting that clean air, you know, before and after pit stops is so crucial. And with two of them maybe on the cards for most people, that's two opportunities to, you know, jump people or lose out if you're too stubborn and you keep on fighting cars before you make that pit stop. Personally, I'm hoping for some fireworks at turn 1, and we might just get it with Lando Norris alongside Max Verstappen, Mercedes versus McLaren, as we go to 5 red lights. The Italian Grand Prix, and we're on the way to the long run down to turn 1. It's not been the best start for us versus Leclerc. We've actually been done by our AI teammate. We hold the inside line though. We're either side of the Williams. It's neck and neck for the two Hondas. Norris and Verstappen side by side. I think Norris is just maintaining first place ahead of the Dutchman. We've managed to get round the outside of Tsunoda. Leclerc got pinched in. He's down to 7th place. But yes, it is Norris from Verstappen, Lawson, Colapinto. The two Hondas lined up pretty well. You know, those two, if you can work together as a unit, that can be a pretty powerful setup. So they're going to be one to watch, I think, in this race. And if Leclerc wants to overtake Tsunoda, maybe we could try and enact that as, 10-second penalty for the leader, who's now down to 3rd, maybe, apparently. It's hard to tell. Looks like the Hondas are having a good go at Verstappen and Norris. But so the leader right now on lap 2 has a 10-second penalty for something. I can tell you, I did look back on the replays. I cannot tell you what that 10-second penalty was for. Potentially, I don't know, if there was any kind of mini yellow flag somewhere on lap 1, maybe Lando overtook Verstappen and he got a legal overtake. I'm not too sure, but it's 3 wide between Verstappen and the two Hondas into Parabolica. Tsunoda, Leclerc and Piastri have got us, because the slipstream's even more powerful, it seems, in this season, and we've got no battery. We're down to 1% there, so a little bit of mismanagement, and it just seems like our car is maybe not as quick as you'd want, maybe, compared to these guys. Okay, well, that's just beautiful. That is just beautiful. We've had to cut across the runoff area as the concertina effect with Tsunoda caught me out. We nearly pile-drived him into turn 1, avoiding action taken. We're down to 10th place. This has just turned into an incredibly messy Italian GP race start for us after a promising lap 1. It's all going a little bit wrong for us. We get back up to P9, but we've lost out to the two Red Bull Fords, Tsunoda and our own teammate. But it seems like, you know, this is the first time we've come to Italy after the AI patch. It seems like that, plus the tyre wear, is making this a difficult one. Maybe Italy's got harder now after the AI patch, or maybe just this tyre wear, this lopsided tyre wear. Look at the whole left-hand side of the car, really worn out. Both rear tyres are pretty worn as well, so that's probably affecting things as well. Not getting the traction we want out of all these corners, but we are gaining back on Leclerc and Tsunoda. Looks like the two Red Bull Fords have cleared these guys then. So Red Bull with a bit more race pace as we go for this switchback from right to left. Get the power down as quickly as we can either side of Tsunoda. Now it's going to be a wheel-to-wheel battle with Leclerc as we jockey for position. We're being a little bit aggressive because I want the position, to be honest, because I feel like Leclerc is a little bit slower than us, and we make the overtake a little bit rash on the rear end as the axle locks up a little bit. We are into 7th place and we're in clean air crucially, but you know what? It's time to come in. It's time to come in. Maybe 2-3 laps earlier than scheduled. But look at the tyre icon. It's orange. And what did I say? There is no point being too stubborn around Monza, you know, with the pit stops. You may as well come in. I may as well come in. Even though it seems really early, we were probably going to be caught up fighting Leclerc and Tsunoda for the rest of that stint. I'd rather come in, get on a new tyre, fresh tyres at... Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, it's not ideal. No, it's not ideal, Mark. It's not ideal. Once again, it's another pit stop issue. And before you say it, we've got full pit stop upgrades on this team. So there's nothing more we can do. But they have been slacking. It's just another thing to add to the tally of operational and mishaps going on for us in this Season 4. As on lap 7, meanwhile, as we've come in, we're in acres of clean air, though, to try and make the most of this new hard tyre. Norris leads by 3 seconds. Obviously, he's got 10 seconds to serve at his pit stop, so he's got to get a move on. Effectively, Colapinto might be leading the entire race once Norris serves that penalty at the pit stop. Verstappen then behind Lawson and then the two Red Bulls. And look at this. Leclerc and Tsunoda are leading a pack of about 8-10 cars. They're fighting each other. They've lost nearly 6 seconds to Gasly. So that's vindication for me to come in so early, be in clean air. We've missed out on all of this fighting. And it seems like Leclerc is the cork in the bottle here for this pack going on. And that's a bit worrying. That kind of basically means this car doesn't have much race pace around Monza. You know, we were going quite well around Spa, driving as Leclerc, and Tramnitz's AI went well around Spa, but I suppose maybe the nature of this circuit where, unlike in Spa, you're not compromising with higher wings still. Here, you're running very low wings, you know, 0 rear wing, maybe 1 on the front, and it can make it a very abrasive surface because you're just getting so much, you know, washing over the tyre surface in the corners. That maybe is a bigger issue for our team compared to others, as there goes Norris serving his penalty. It's a long 10-second wait for the Brits here, and then the tyres can go on, and he's lost out obviously to Verstappen, to the Honda cars, and so he's got it all to do. But worryingly, Norris and that Mercedes car seems very, very good around here. So in a way, we kind of needed the 10-second penalty to help us out, to stop him and limit the damage to the nearest man to us in the championship. As we get ahead of Lawson, we can't quite get Piastri, but Lawson was one of the top 4 cars and we've jumped him. So that's, and we've jumped Norris with the 10-second penalty. So pitting all the way on lap 5, I think that was the move, because we're now ahead of 2 cars that were in the top 4 that we were nowhere near before the pit stop round for us then. So we might be, you know, offset by about 4 laps of delta here. You know, 4 lap older hard tyres, and we're on the hard, by the way. Piastri's on medium, Lawson medium, Verstappen medium. So definitely the AI have an advantage here, it would seem. You know, with the tyre wear, with general pace. So I'm not sure if it's anything to do with the AI patch, but that's the only thing that's changed from last season to this one, really. And, you know, obviously some AI upgrades, you know, for the R&D, etc., into the start of this season, but then it's all been kind of plateaued. But it's all about track-to-track dependency. And you saw there, I basically waved by Lawson, didn't give him a fight, because I don't think Lawson is in our fight. Norris, he's not in our fight either, but he's the nearest man to us in the championship. So we are going to put up a much bigger fight against Lando, just because it's basically damage limitation versus him in the championship standings, whereas with Lawson, he's nowhere near us in the standings. So I'll let him crack on. And to be honest, I think he just caused Piastri some damage there. There was definitely a bit of carbon fiber falling off. So I think Piastri's not in a good way, and we're going to try and use Piastri here to gain us a bit of slipstream as we make the overtake, and we're going to try and make things awkward to try and force him to fight Norris, but it doesn't quite work out. The Mercedes will come at us now, and we're having to be very cautious with the ERS usage. Piastri's in, so Piastri pits with that damage. A very early pit stop for the Australian, so it goes from bad to worse. That guy was leading the championship 4 episodes ago, and now he's going to be well out the points. And to be honest, we haven't seen much of him. I think Leclerc's out the points here, to be honest, as Norris now comes through for the overtake. Gasly comes at us at a rate of knots. I'm not going to fight him too much because he's on the mediums, and I reckon he'll probably have a better job at overtaking Norris than I will. And at that point, I thought it was futile. You know, it wasn't a case of if Norris will overtake, it's when, really, because we just don't have any pace here. Where is the pace gone? Colapinto leads, by the way. Franco Colapinto leads legitimately from Verstappen, Lawson. So it's a 1-3 for Honda. Norris, P4, making up for the 10-second penalty. We're in P6, but where is Leclerc? Leclerc's 15th place. Maloney, the BMW, is in 7th. Doohan in the Renault in 9th place. Aaron in the Williams in 10th. Sainz P12, by the way. He's nowhere, considering how quick Norris has been. So that's a bit telling of maybe the Mercedes car, it might be decent, but Norris is making that difference today. And so are we driving as Travnich, because Leclerc floundering in the traffic in 15th place. And this is the problem in Monza. When you get stuck in the traffic, as an AI at least, you are screwed. It's so hard to break out of it. And then on top of that, I think Leclerc's got damage, That end plate on the front right's off. Leclerc's got damage. He's picked up damage somewhere. And usually in real life, we've seen Leclerc drive quicker with end plate damage, quite strangely. But definitely here in this race, it is not helping him. So this is very slowly / quickly turning into a race to forget maybe. It's going to maybe be in the category with Monaco, with the Golf livery, of a one-off livery to forget in terms of its performance-enhancing or lack of performance-enhancing capabilities. The Pink Pig allowed us to get a double podium, 2 cars on the podium, but here it is doing the opposite so far. It's not looking great for even a top 5. As Lando Norris has come in for a pit stop on lap 19, and Paul Aaron leads this Italian Grand Prix in the Williams, and I can say I think he's trying to go to the end on that set of tyres. So he leads legitimately because he's doing one less stop. Colapinto second, Verstappen third. Norris is now up to 4th place. He's got Lawson having, obviously, dealt with that 10-second penalty, closed the gap, overtaking Lawson. Gasly P6. We're up to P7, but we're nearly 11 seconds off Gasly. Maloney's nearly 4 seconds behind us in the BMW. That's the nearest car we're going to have to worry about. And, oh my God, Piastri and Leclerc are 19th and 20th. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. 2 of the biggest names in this season. Piastri leading the championship at one point for a large part of the season. Leclerc is leading the championship right now going into this race, and they're both down in the bottom 4. Insane. This might be a massive race for Lando Norris and Mercedes as Verstappen looks to get up into 2nd place, overtaking Colapinto. Norris gets re-overtaken by Lawson, so Honda might just help us out here by pushing Norris down the order. But so far, even with a P5 finish, Norris is going to gain quite big in the Drivers' Championship. But so far also, I'm thinking 7 laps to go. Is Paul Aaron about to pull off some sort of miracle? He's still about 2.3 seconds ahead of Verstappen. If he just keeps on going like this, ekes it out, is there a possibility we could get a shock winner today of a Williams and Paul Aaron, for goodness sake, as well? Coming in, very much inexperienced driver in the series. That'd be insane stuff as Norris and Lawson swap. The same for Verstappen and Colapinto. They're just swapping lap after lap, and we continue just to be in no man's land, by the way, in P7. So there's nothing really to bring you of our race so far. But I can tell you, slowly, I am getting worried about Carlos Sainz, who's now up to P9. He's going to overtake Maloney at some point, and then that second Mercedes might come to haunt us in P7. Right now, though, the other Mercedes is going to haunt us because he's caught up to Colapinto and Verstappen. It's what I feared was coming. Maybe a double pass to get up into 2nd place immediately for Lando Norris as he arrives on the scene of those 2 cars. That Norris in that Merc today is scary. If he didn't have that 10-second penalty for God knows what, he would have just been laughing and walking away with this race. So in a weird way, very thankful for the FI for giving him that penalty for whatever it was. But he makes a fantastic overtake on the outside to finish off the move on Colapinto, and now he's got clean air to chase after Aaron. But it's 4 seconds the gap to Aaron. Could he still hang on for the win? Dare I say? I don't know. But right now, you're seeing Sainz go around the outside of us because I'm actually letting him by at Parabolica to then get DRS on him, because I know the Merc from the earlier fight with Norris is actually genuinely quicker than us, and we're having to play a very clever game here of cat and mouse with the DRS, and Maloney as well. The BMW is actively fighting us, and it's not a blue flag situation. I have to actually give him room, and we actually get out tractioned by the BMW. So this is actually insane. Porsche versus BMW versus Mercedes here at the Italian Grand Prix. I mean, you love to see it. I just wish it was for higher positions as we get the move back on Maloney for P7. But for how long can we do this? It kind of feels like the fight with Norris, that at some point Sainz will just overtake us. But we're using Maloney to annoy him and to try to box him in as much as we can. But it's going to be hard to keep this up for multiple laps. I mean, we'll keep trying it, this, very, 4D chess sort of game of letting him by, getting the DRS back on him. But at some point, maybe I'm also fearing the tyre wear may kick in, because remember, we are offset by, good 4 or 5 laps of tyre delta, as there's a yellow flag for Tsunoda, who's retired in this race. His teammate's leading right now, so that's a massive difference of race fortunes here in Monza for Williams as we repass Sainz for 7th place. We carry on. The gap to, from Norris to Aaron is 1.4 though now, so maybe the dream is going to come to the end for Williams and Aaron. Is for the 3rd time now. We're yet again doing this little dance where we let Sainz by, we come back at him with DRS. Maloney's going to be there as well, but we're now getting on to crunch time. It's going to be the last 2 laps, so this is where it really counts. Up till now, we've just been putting ourselves in a position to be here at the end to then try and play a game to maintain the 7th place, but it's a pretty depressing 7th place, I must say. Nearly 20 seconds off 6th place. And there you go, adding to the depression. I'm not going to be excited by that. There's no fanfare commentary for that. Lando Norris overtakes Paul Aaron, and the depression's complete because we're 7th place. Leclerc 20th, 0 points, and the nearest man to both our drivers in the championship is now going to win this race. Oh dear, oh dear. Monza, it's been a nightmare for us. It's been up and down for us all game. We've won here from the back. We've had engine failures from good positions, and this season, it seems like it's going to be one that maybe blows this championship wide open, and not in a good way for us, but a great way for Norris, for Mercedes, maybe for others, having hope that we are stoppable, that we are very much in the realm of, reachable in these coming races, because this is a big surprise. This is coming out of nowhere. The lack of pace is worrying here at Monza. At the same time, I guess you could say also it has always been a difficult race for us in this game, so maybe this is just something we have to get through, and maybe next race we'll be back on pace, but you just never know. These are the worries that creep into your head as you see things unfold. It's been a difficult race here in the Martini livery. I really wish we could have given this livery a better race. Like I said, I think probably the slickest one-off package we've done for the team so far compared to Golf and the Pink Pig, but the Pink Pig livery is still going to be the most unique livery and the most successful one-off livery so far with that 1st and 3rd, but Lando Norris is going to win this Italian Grand Prix. Paul Aaron, though, that's still a massive achievement, by the way. 2nd place for him, and Williams is insane. Is on the last lap. We get overtaken by Sainz, by Maloney in the last DRS zone. We go through Ascari to Parabolica. Can we do anything to come back at Maloney? Sainz has saved it to the last lap, and the problem was, I didn't see it. I slept walked into that because I had no battery to come back at these guys. They absolutely finessed me. They made me overuse the battery on the 2nd last lap, and it meant going on to the last lap, I had nothing. What a bad last lap. That's actually, honestly, a little bit embarrassing. That was awful. P9. 2 points, and Leclerc 0. Boy, oh boy.
Out of the last corner for the last time, Lando Norris is victorious.
And it's always good to get that momentum on your side, and it's really good for your confidence as well. The more confident you are, the further that can take you.
That's actually ended up being a massive race for Lando Norris and Mercedes, who now leads the championship by 16 points. It's incredibly close between Leclerc, Tramnitz and Verstappen, but 16 points now to Lando Norris, who leads. Thankfully, we're still going to be leading the constructors, but on an individual driver level, that's devastating for both Tramnitz and Leclerc. There's still plenty of races to go, but that's 3 wins in a row for Mercedes. That has got to be concerning for us as they find just momentum and they find a rhythm in this season. In a season where there are no R&D upgrades for any teams really in the top fold, momentum and finding a rhythm could just be the secret to getting one over your rivals. Guys, if you have enjoyed this one, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly full-on content. We have got a championship fight on our hands once again.